Hey there. I had a lot of moms ask me about how to feed their kids. And I did this talk recently at a food revolution locally, and I had a lot of people online ask me for the information because so many moms are struggling with how to feed their kids. So I put this together and wanted to share a little bit about what I shared live so that you here can see it for yourself. So little people, big eaters. That's the goal, right? To get them to eat lots of good food and not necessarily lots of cake like my little one here is on her first birthday. That's her smash cake photo. But how do we get them to be big eaters? I'm Dr. Whitney Young. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I specialize in fertility, pregnancy, and children's health. And I have the 3 misunderstandings moms have as baby grows from milk to meals. And I also specialize in peanut introduction. So I have a cool peanut freebie, the peanut plan on how to do it safely and calmly with your baby. So there's that too. So I love working with kids. This little video is going to be fast and fun. So there's lots I want to just share with you, but it will be quick. So biggest question, I want you to think to yourself, what's the biggest question you have surrounding your food or your kids? So think that out, write it down, and also private message me or post it in our group. I'd love to hear what your biggest question is surrounding food and your kids, because that's my mission, as you'll hear about in a moment. The mushroom muncher. So here's my 2 little ones. And I remember the story. So we were at a party, and my little one was about 18 months at the time, and there was a veggie tray. And she just grabbed a whole big mushroom and started chomping down on it. And the lady there was another woman at the party, and she's like looked at my daughter and just like shock. Her mouth was wide open. She's like just looking at her like she was like a pink elephant floating by. And she was just like, wow, I've never seen a child eat a mushroom before, a raw mushroom. Um, and I was just like, well, yeah, it was not a big deal to me because it's not uncommon for us to have raw veggies around and the kids munching on them. And that's when I had my light bulb moment of why is it so strange that for kids to eat vegetables, like why is this so hard and why are we finding it so hard to get them to eat well? Whereas, there's lots of kids who do eat really well and aren't picky eaters. So what's the difference and how can we get them to eat well? Because it's my mission to create super babies. They are these little balls of potential that are going to grow up and save the world. And we know so much about health prevention and health promotion of, if there's lots of these things that we start kids on the right track, mentally, physically, nutritionally, emotionally, if we can get them on the right track at the beginning, they're going to have less disease, mental and physical disease going forward, and they're going to make a bigger impact on our planet, and they're going to just be happier, and you're going to be happier and have less worries. So how do we start them on the right track? And that's what I'm really passionate about, is growing these super babies. So did you know that at 1 year old, only 30% of 1-year-olds eat vegetables? That is shocking and scary. I know, you're thinking that can't be true. But what happens is we are really, really picky and we are really content about getting our kids on the right track of eating well when they're 6 to 9 months. They have all kinds of vegetables and fruits and they're eating really well. But 9, 10, 11, 12 months, they kind of slip off. We let the things that we think are treats and they are, but they creep in more often and more regularly. How often do you look at your calendar and we've got a birthday party here, we've got a special occasion here, here's another chocolate holiday. So it really just creeps in. And then if you're doing it on a day-to-day basis, desserts or treats, then the other nutrition kind of fails. So kids who eat more sugary beverages and snacks and high-fat dairy have more obesity than those who don't eat those foods. And another kind of scary fact is, we follow into trends and food trends, and there's the big gluten-free trend right now where lots of people are going gluten-free, and I'm not saying that that's bad, but if it's not for you, if there's not a reason, a medical kind of reason why, then we see our kids having lots of rice products, rice cereal, rice snacks, those mums. And rice has a lot of arsenic in it. So babies who ate rice cereal and snacks had double the amount of arsenic in their blood than they should have than those who didn't eat all of these snacks. So it's all about balance, right? The Mediterranean diet, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The Mediterranean diet equals better health. So kids who eat more of a Mediterranean style diet have less obesity. And we know there's tons of studies supporting the Mediterranean diet, and it decreases the prevalence of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, so heart attacks and strokes. There are less cancers, less Alzheimer's, less Parkinson's, less dementias, less depression. So, wow, what is this diet and how can we get our kids to start eating this way? I will talk to you about that. But what can happen next? So, it's really important to get our kids starting on the right track of eating well, because their food preferences and those little taste buds are formed really early on. So if we can get them to eat really well at the beginning stages of their life, their taste buds and their natural food preferences will carry forward. And the other thing is mom's diet. You can feed them really well, but if you're not eating well, baby will eventually, as they turn to toddler and kid and preschooler, their diet will mirror yours. So really it's about getting your diet on track too. So what can happen next? We see lots of skin conditions, eczema, psoriasis. We see digestive issues, lots of gas and bloating, inflammation, which can mean anything from pain or ear infections to behavioral issues. So we do see that kids eating certain kinds of foods have more behavioral issues. So that translates in the classroom and, at home or on bedtime. So definitely diet matters. So I want you to think to yourself, so how many vegetables do you and your family eat each day? Kind of do a ballpark. Where are you at? Try to think of that, and what types of vegetables do your kids eat? So we want to go from a picky eater. What's a picky eater with a subpar diet? So if you've got a picky eater who doesn't eat very nutritionally rich foods, then they're what I call nutritionally nil. So they don't got much. There's not much going in, and they really need good nutrition to help build their brain and their skin and their muscles, because they are rapidly growing. When they are little, they are growing so fast. So they need good nutrition to help them grow fast. What if they're eating a substantial diet? So they're eating a wide variety of good foods, but they're still a picky eater. Then we've got a fickle foodie. So that's where we see our toddlers who would mow down on a plate full of chickpeas and then have nothing else the rest of the day, right? So they are the fickle foodie. They decide, hello, I like this and I like nothing else, but they're still eating good foods. We want an eager eater. We want a kid who just loves to eat and loves different kinds of foods. But if you've got an eager eater with a subpar diet, so they are an eager eater, but they're eating all the nutritionally nil foods, then they are going to have huge gastronomic gaps in their vitamins and minerals and proteins and essential fatty acids and all the good stuff that they need. Adventurous appetite. This is what we want. We want our kids to be super good eaters. We want other parents to look at our kids and go, whoa, you've got a good eater. Haha, yes, I do. Thank you very much. So we want them to be eating a great, substantial quality diet and be pretty happy about it. So here's the steps. And as I said, this is fast and fun, and I only have time to cover one of these steps in my slideshow here. So Mediterranean meals, and I'm going to go over what that is in a minute. We want to try 10, so that's a cool way to get them to eat foods. The Great Veggie Voyage, legless lunches, and the rut reversal. So I do talk about this in my future upcoming Meals for Munchkins program, so stay tuned for that. But let's just cover number one there. So Mediterranean meals. This is what a Mediterranean diet plate looks like. And we could go in, I could talk about the Mediterranean diet for hours, but what does it really look like? We've seen kind of this plate before, but what it looks like is half your plate is veggies, and we want all the different colors of the rainbow to hit your plate, maybe not in one day, but maybe over the course of a week. So if you kind of look at all the veggies in your life, what colors are they? Are you getting all the kinds? And let's try some other ones. And that's where we do the Great Veggie Voyage. Holy grains. So we want grains that are the whole form. So I would love you to eat more barley and more brown rice and more quinoa and, stuff that comes in the form that it was grown in. And then legless protein. So the Mediterranean meals, they eat a lot. They eat some protein, but not always a animal-based protein. So they don't eat a lot of dairy, but they do eat fish and chicken. And you see how that's a quarter of your plate. So about the size of your palm or your child's palm. So that's not a lot of protein. And we can see we've got lots more veggies and then healthy oils. It's really important to add oils back into our food. And, I love good coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, flax oil. Try it up, switch it up, add different ones in, create different taste buds for them. So your mind is going, oh my God, that's a ton of information. So what I want to go from is the mystified to masterful. So how can we be masterful moms and really kind of own this, but then breathe, right? I'm talking really fast because I want to tell you lots of things, but how can we kind of breathe, enjoy the moment, sit down with our kids, actually have a conversation around the dinner table and be masterful about their nutrition and about our health too. So again, I'm so passionate about creating a super baby, and nutrition is one of the cornerstones, and there are a few others that are really important to creating these super babies. And so you're here, you watch this, you stuck to the end because you're curious. You're either frustrated about what your child is eating. Maybe you've got other people in the home who are picky and they're not modeling great behavior. Maybe you're a picky eater too. So you're just wondering, how do I fix this? Maybe you have a health condition. So maybe your child does and they are not, and you're wondering how their diet may impact their health concern. And you want the best for them. That little finger holding on to that little hand holding on to your little finger. They love you and adore you. And in this stage, they are looking up to you and looking for us to set the example, be the role model, and, create some structure and routine and in their lives, and then also fun. So how do we be fun about it? So I created the Super Baby program, from possible to incredible, which is a 4-week, 30-day program of how to create super babies. And we talk about food introduction. We talk about developing a healthy immune system, and we talk about how to deal with things in a natural, more holistic way, and how to really create those super babies from the ground up. So that is what I work on, and I also work at Rooted, which is that logo on the right. That's my local clinic. And then I'd love you to join me in my Guiltless Grace. It's my private Facebook group for moms, and we talk about how to raise happy, healthy, hearty kids without the mommy guilt. Because this can be stressful, and raising kids is not easy, right? It's a full-time job, and if you've got another job, you are exhausted. But how can we make it simple and bring back the peace and the fun and the health without going crazy about it? So I'd love to see you there. Thanks for sticking around until the end, and please let me know your questions. I'd love to know your biggest food questions as I'm developing the Meals for Munchkins program.